a pink lemonade kick.
Really?
Yeah, and I am not a lemonade girly.
Oh, I love pink lemonade though.
I have never, well, like, I'll make my own lemonade, like with like lemons, water, and adding sugar to it. I'll make my own lemonade, but like just going somewhere, I'm never gonna order a lemonade ever. And then I've been getting the little drink packets, and I'm telling you, it was like hot one summer day, and the pink lemonade, it just hit.
It slaps, dude.
It's been hitting.
It slaps so good. Whenever I would go to cousins, I would always get pink lemonade as my drink. I don't know why. It's just what I always got at cousins.
I miss cousins so much.
Speaking of
things I can't have because of celiac disease. Speaking of things I can't have because of being a vegetarian, I miss Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
Jimmy John unwedges. Oh, I could fuck one of them up.
You used to eat those when you did keto and medical weight loss.
Yeah,
because you got
and I would just eat them in general because they're delicious. Because I will say that bread has never been my thing. I think I've mentioned that before. Bread's never been my thing. Like when you just eat fucking tortilla wraps, I'm like,
I love it so much.
Dude,
Italian loaves of bread, the big one, I would scoop out the whole butt and just eat the inside. I used to ask my nana to cut off the butt, like cut off the end. And
you're such an Italian.
It's so good, dude.
That's what Bill and Guy would do at Wells Brothers. Bill would cut off the end and he would scoop it out and he would put 2 meatballs in it, a little bit of sauce, and he'd be like, manja. And I'd be like,
so good.
You can't keep doing that to the bread, Bill. Like,
it's so good. I love it so much.
Ugh, yuck. So much bread.
It's delicious.
Anyway, Steph eats plain tortillas like a psycho.
I do. Carb balanced tortillas. I just roll them up and
like a serial killer. Just,
yep.
I'm like, you're not going to put anything on that? She's like, yum, yum, yum.
It's a very specific kind though, because I tried a different brand and it was fucking horrendous. And I was like, never again. I don't know what it is about the carb balance one. They're just so good. So if I make myself a wrap with like chicken and avocado and stuff, I'll take a plain one out, just eat that first. And then I eat the wrap with the meat in it.
It's so fucking weird, dude. So weird. I'm trying to think of weird shit I eat, and I really don't think. Well, I think that people think that my pickle consumption is weird. I don't think it's weird.
If pickles didn't give me gas, I'd eat them just as much as you do.
I the worst fucking stomachache. Oh, I would die. I don't know what I would do. I love pickles so fucking much. It's a 2-jar minimum a week in my house. 2-jar minimum, specifically Milwaukee brand, not the baby.
That's the only kind I like.
Fat ones,
yeah,
the little ones. I won't discriminate. I'll have Clausen. I'll have the Vlasic. Those
aren't bad. I just grew up on Milwaukee dill. Oof. Like those were always the best ones. Your nephew was actually having those in his lunch for a while, and I was like, oh, it's like kind of a vegetable for you. That's great. You're not just eating,
Thank God.
Trash. And then I bought ones that were too big, and he's like, they're too big. Like it was like awkward to eat. I think he just felt self-conscious because they were bigger than usual.
Just cut it up.
They were cut up.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I'm not going to argue with you. So whatever.
Okay.
Well,
you want me to put relish in?
Imagine just like split.
When I was on medical weight loss, I would get turkey hot dogs, and I would have 2 of them. I would heat them up, and I would just do mustard and dill relish on them. And oh man, I would fucking that. I would do that quite a bit. It'd be like starting to be like, what's wrong? Are you okay? You're a grown woman, and all you're eating is hot dogs.
It's so weird for me to think of you eating meat, even though I knew you when you ate meat. Like you loved fucking bacon for a long time.
I loved bacon. I still love the smell of it. I found some pretty good substitutes, but man, if pigs weren't intelligent, if pigs
so
weren't
weird to think of. Yeah, I hear you. It's so weird to think of how things were circa 2015, 2016. Just a different time.
Ooh, a different time. We don't need to go back there. Yay. Hey, peoples. We've grown. We've evolved. So today, episode 107. I feel like this is the problem with lemonade, though.
It does.
You get
kind of like when you eat too many Skittles or Starburst, and you get that like gross.
Yes, that yicky.
Yeah.
So excuse the mouth sounds. I'm gonna be like. because I've already committed to 50 ounces of it. So here we go. So today, episode 107, here is what we are going to talk about. There is a skill. It's not as well, it's kind of a skill, but it's not a skill. It's a tool you can use in DBT. So it's kind of like a skill, whatever. It's called a behavior chain analysis. We're going to do my spin-off of that, which I call bubbles.
Would you say it's a simplified version or just an easier to understand version? Because here's the thing, BCAs can be confusing when you first learn them, which is why I refused to learn how to do them at Rogers. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do it. It's dumb.
I don't see, I guess I don't think BCAs are hard at all.
I think it was just like tedious. And I was like, I'm not doing that with a 15-year-old. I'm just not. Like, they're not going to buy into it.
I think they didn't teach it the right way. Because when I showed you how I do it, you were like, oh, that's it? And I was like, yeah, that's it. And you were like, oh. So I could be doing it wrong, but I don't think I am. And it works. It works when I do it with my clients. So what we are going to do is we are going to show you first an example with me, then an example with Steph. I'm going to do my example first, so Steph has an understanding of like the things that I'm going to ask her. And
let's tell our audience what the point of this is. What are we trying to get to the root of?
So the point of this is for you. So what bubbles is you're going to take what you are feeling and attempt to understand where it's coming from. So you're breaking it down to understand where it's coming from. And then in my mind, you can then do something about it. And so you'll see as we go along. So, I need to set myself up first.
No, you're fine. Also, if you guys hear banging in the background, which Mari said is not loud, they are replacing the siding on my apartment complex right outside my son's bedroom window. So
I literally can't hear it at all.
Okay, good. Because they're just banging away like Bob the Builder out there. Actually, more like Handy Manny.
Handy Mandy. Handy Manny.
Manny.
Handy Mandy. Oh, man.
That's a different kind of show.
What kind of show is it?
It would be a porn. Handy Mandy?
Yeah, I guess. So would Handy Manny. Is that why am I so confused now? It's Mandy and Manny, right? Is the different whatever. It's just so stupid. Anyways, okay. So what am I feeling? So before we got on to record, I feel way better now. But before we got on to record, I was feeling very overwhelmed. So you are going to, let me do that. You're going to write that on your paper, overwhelmed. And I am going to then draw arrows off of feeling overwhelmed and think what is contributing to that. So I feel overwhelmed because there are dishes in the sink, which I know is my pet peeve. Left the vacuum out. Need to cut grass.
You did 42 things already today.
Busy morning. I had a bad body image moment earlier. Bad body image moment. I spent a lot of money the past 2 days. And I think that is one of the biggest contributors. I usually do not. Spent a lot of money. Okay, so here are, I don't even know why I'm showing it because people probably can't see it. But anyways, here, so I write down
the gist of it though.
Yeah, I write down overwhelmed and then I just draw arrows off of what is going on with overwhelmed, what is leading into me feeling like that. And so I just take time and I think about what is going on in my life that feeds into that, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the things that are within my control. I'm going to cross off what is not in my control, and I'm going to squiggle what is ongoing.
Okay.
Because a squiggle, we'll get to it. So like You get what I'm saying when I say
Yes.
squiggle, right?
Yes.
Everybody
A wavy
gets
line.
that? Right. Okay. So busy morning, not in my control. The morning's already over. Dishes in the sink, in my control. Left the vacuum out, in my control. Need to cut grass, in my control. Spent a lot of money.
It's in the past because you already spent it, right?
In the past, I already spent it. Bad body image moment. This one, it is in the past. However, it's ongoing.
It can be ongoing. Yeah.
So that's a squiggle. So if I have put these things down, the things that I've crossed off, I can't think about anymore. I can't, like, there, it's over with. It is not in my control. It's already over with. So even if it was like having to deal with somebody being mad at you, like if that was like overwhelmed because, you know, someone is mad that I'm not coming to a party, that's not in my control.
Correct.
And so I'm not going to think about that anymore because I can't control what somebody else's perception is. Yes, please save it for your fucking mom about, well, that's easier said than done. Save it. Save it.
Yes.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's a choice if you are going to continue to allow yourself to perseverate on something that you cannot control.
Yep.
I spent a lot of money, yes, but if I'm going to sit here and look at this real quick and break it down, I got my hair done. I get my hair done twice a year. Twice a year. So it makes sense that when I go, it's not going to be $30.
Correct.
And I feel really good when I get my hair done. Sophia got her first time at a salon. She got her hair cut. She felt really good afterwards. That's important to me. Yes. That's important to me to garner those experiences. We went and got pedicures. I have to go get my feet done. I have to. It is a have to because I'm not doing my feet myself. And I need to make sure that the way that my toenails grow and shit is taken care of because if I don't, like, I have horrible fucking cuticles and they just grow crazy and I'm not doing it. So I have to take care of myself in that way. I spent the money on getting new shampoo because for the extensions, because I have to. If I put them back in my head, I need to take care of them. It doesn't make sense to spend all the money to get it done. And then all of a sudden I just let them go to shit. And in a month, I look like a fucking lunatic.
Sure.
It is what it is. That the shampoo that I bought of, $47 on each liter of shampoo, that's going to last me the year. So like if I have to wager it in my head of that. So even if I was going to let myself think about that for a little bit, it makes sense. And these were planned things. They weren't things that I just willy-nilly went and did. So it was a busy morning. Yes, it was. I set it up that way. That's what it's going to be. It was a busy morning and I accomplished everything that I needed to. It all went to the bottom. Oh, that was so sour. Oh, I hate when it does
shake it up.
I hate when it doesn't do that. Oh, that was sour. You know that feeling?
Yes.
Like where it's like in your, what is it, your jowls?
Yeah.
Oh, that like, it stings. And I like a busier morning versus just waiting around because then I don't fucking do anything. I know when I get done with this, I'm going to go do the shit I need to do.
Sure.
Which leads me to my next point. The shit that's within my control. Dishes in the sink, vacuum out, still needing to cut the grass. Make a plan. Make a plan of how you are going to attack those things. I already know in my head, when I get off of here, I'm going to go do the dishes because that's the easiest thing for me to get done really quickly. It's the prettiest to see it from start to finish. It goes from ugly to pretty. So then I'm going to fly right out and then cut the grass. So, and after doing the dishes, I'll grab the vacuum and set it downstairs and then go, it'll just be like in the midst. So all three of those things are going to be attacked right after this and it's going to be completely fine. And then a bad body image moment. The reason this is still ongoing is because it's still something that I'm working on. It's still something that I'm working through. No, I didn't like the way that I looked in the mirror, but here's the thing. I'm not letting that ruin my day because I'm deserving of having a good day. I'm a good person. I am a good mother. I am a good partner. I am a good human being. I am so much more than my body. My body is my least interesting part about me. So I don't need to sit here and be like, oh, well, this, or I shouldn't wear this, or I shouldn't do that. No, it is what it is. It's ongoing. I'm actively working every day to exercise, to plan eating, to do those things, to drink more water. I can only do what I can do. And it is what it is. So that is how I help clients when they are starting to be like, well, I feel like this, but I don't know why. A lot of the times we have clients come to us and they're like, I don't know why I'm feeling like this. I don't really know where this is coming from. And usually when I sit down and do this with them or do a BCA with them, we then start to understand how all of these things started to flood together. If I didn't stop to think about, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I wouldn't understand that all of these other things already played a factor. It was that I heard them. It sounded like, I was like, is someone knocking on your door?
Nope, just sounds like it.
All of these other things play into how I'm feeling. But once I start to let go of what I can't control, make a plan for what I can control, I start to feel more grounded, more centered, and this less of this chaotic feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
This whole time, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do for my example?
Yeah. Or like pretend like you're one of your clients that you went through shit.
Well, the first thing I thought I was vacillating between like, I feel sad or I feel emotionally exhausted. Sad for me, I think is pretty normal.
Yeah.
So like, I think emotionally exhausted, I could probably break down more.
Emotionally exhausted. Okay.
I had some pretty like emotionally charged sessions this week, throughout the week. There are some ongoing like family health things going on. I feel like I've been getting decent sleep, but I don't know if it's enough, because if I don't sleep well or get enough sleep, it like royally fucks me up in so many ways. So I guess I would just say like not enough sleep. And then there's just like relationship stuff in my life that there's like a lot of ambivalence around and confusion.
I'm putting relationship turmoil.
Okay.
Tumultuous.
Is there anything else?
How have you and Bug been?
He's had a tude. Like,
I just realized I forgot that Soph had a breakdown this morning about not knowing what to wear, and that is like where it set me off of like, and I really have been leaning into and not in a healthy way of like, I'm paying and doing all of these things for you, and there is no fucking like I went and paid for you to get your hair done. We got pedicures together. We went out to lunch together, and we are starting our morning by.
We had a couple rough ones. Just kind of irritable and snappy. And I think what happens is I react back to him, but then what that does is it brings me back to like my own fucking upbringing and how my mom was reactive towards me. And then I get frustrated with myself because I'm like, bitch, he's allowed to have emotions.
Yeah.
But also you don't need to speak to me like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
1000%. That's how Soph was before soccer yesterday. You can have emotions and whatnot, but what I don't want to do is every time we need to go to soccer, you complain about having to go to soccer. You don't have to do it. I've told you that.
Earlier, I was minding my own goddamn business on the couch. Yeah. He was sitting next to me on FaceTime on his tablet with his best friend.
Yeah.
I can hear his conversation. So he's talking to him. And I was like, oh, why? He goes, why are you listening to my conversation? I said, well, you're sitting next to me. How can I not? You can ignore it. And I was like,
you can go in your room.
Thank you.
You don't need to be next to me.
Period.
So, tude.
But it hasn't been bad. It's
so
just been
put it down or no?
I don't want to say like I've had worse times. I don't want to minimize it, but like, yeah, sometimes that's where I'm just like, I'm not doing this with you. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yep. Okay. Tude from Sun.
That's probably it.
Yeah. Okay. So what's within your control? Emotionally charged sessions?
No.
Are not in your control. Ongoing family health?
Nope.
Not in your control, but I'm putting a squiggle.
I would put ongoing,
because it's ongoing.
Yep.
Not enough sleep?
That is within my control. Because it's not a matter of like, I am a good sleeper. It's a matter of like, bitch, get your ass to bed. Like, get off your fucking phone or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yep. Relationship turmoil. Ongoing.
I was going to say it's between ongoing and I'm not going to say it's not in my control.
I was like, it is, and it's not. I get,
yes.
Yeah, it is, but yeah. Okay. And then Tude from Sun. Not in my control. But ongoing, because it's still playing a factor.
And it's probably never going to go away.
Ever. So emotionally charged sessions is what we drop at the door, right? It's just what we have to decompress from and let go of and understand that this is part of the job. So when we're understanding that that might be playing into whatever we've got going on, it's that this is what I signed up for. When I signed up to be a therapist, I signed up for that there are going to be sessions that are uncomfortable, that are heavy, that are XYZ, whatever that it may be. There's going to be a lot going on. And I have to understand that I keep repeating, because this is an ongoing thing. I have to keep repeating to myself that it's not a reflection on me with whatever people are going through, with whatever they choose to do about the situations, whether they choose to keep operating in the negative space or mindset or whatever that it is. That's not a direct reflection of me. I know and can rely on the fact that I have given all of the tools that need to be given and have demonstrated how to use them and have gone over and over and over again with the things that I know make a difference. People have to choose to pick up those tools.
Well, I think what's helpful for me in those moments is in those emotionally charged sessions, not that I need this from my clients all the time, but I have gotten feedback of like how helpful it was to talk through XYZ and how much better they felt. Like that to me makes it, I don't want to say worth it, but like, do you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, yes, this is what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then if we're looking at not enough sleep, that's within your control, bitch. What are you doing? So that's where we would make a game plan. So we would come down to this and let's see first if you know, like what are you doing that you need to knock it the fuck off?
I've honestly been on my phone too much and I'm annoyed with myself. Like that is 1000% within my control. I already know I can be without it, but for whatever reason, I've just been feeling this pull to numb out on my phone again. And then I get frustrated with myself.
What do you think you're trying to numb out?
I just don't want to think about stuff.
What don't you want to think about?
Shut up.
I have a feeling it's on here. So, but this is the benefit of doing this. So on phone too much, trying to numb out. To numb out, which I'm going to say it right now, there's relationship turmoil and then the ongoing health stuff. That all factors down into this. There's a lot of shit going on that is not within your control. And for somebody who likes to have control over things, that is really fucking difficult. So I'm going to self-sabotage and numb the fuck out on these things that I think are doing something for me, when in reality, I'm like, it's 11 p.m. Where am I?
Yeah.
Like,
and granted, I'm like not staying up outrageously late, but I get up at 4:30 every day. So if I'm not asleep before 9:30, it's too late.
And you're getting up and lifting heavy and doing things or doing workouts that require your attention and your focus. Like, I mean, it's not like you're just getting up at 4:30 to sit around. You're doing shit. So it's like it's go from the beginning. So if we're looking at trying to numb out, so we're bringing the other reasonings back down here, right? Because those are the ongoing things, and the ongoing things are things that cannot necessarily be settled. So then that's what it helps, putting this stuff on paper, to start seeing like, oh, I'm not getting enough sleep. One of these things that are within my control is because I'm trying to avoid these other things that I necessarily can't. They're not in my control, but I'm also not really acknowledging my feelings about them. So I'm just numbing out and doing whatever. So then it goes back to, well, then what plan do we need to put in place? If we know what we need to do, then it's like, okay, think about the game plan of like, do I need to set my phone up at a certain time? Do you rely on the people around you of like, okay, text me at 9 p.m. And if I'm not off my fucking phone, punch me in the face. Like,
well, I think that, and also talking about what I'm struggling with someone, right? Like if I'm just going to choose to internalize everything still and just try to figure it out on my own or problem solve on my own, like I already know that that's setting me up to fail, because my brain struggles to do that. And so if I'm able to verbalize it to somebody out loud, they can help validate or point things out to me or be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, and
Yes.
as far as me being able to offer support to those people in my life that like things are ongoing with, what's within my control is I can be there to support that person. I can be there to reach out to that person. I can be there to do XYZ for that person. Like there are things within my control, but I have to understand that there are other things that are not, and that just is what it is. I can either continue in those situations or I could not.
So first step, talk to someone, process through the icky feelings that we don't want to fucking process through. 2, get off phone at set time. If this was a client, I would be doing specifics. What time do you think that you're going to get off your phone? What time do you think is reasonable for you? I want you to try that for the first 3 days. If it doesn't seem reasonable, I want you to change the time for another 3 days and see if that's reasonable. I want you to keep experimenting. It's not failure. It's not failure. Hear it. It's feedback. You're getting feedback. View yourself as a fucking scientist. You're a scientist, bitch. Get the data points. Get the information coming in. You are building up your hypothesis of, I think that 8 p.m. is going to be a great bedtime. Whoa, no, the fuck it's not. I have found that all I do is sit in my bed and stare at the wall for an hour and a half. Okay, so let's bring it back a little bit further. Bring it, like experiment. It is not failure. You don't know what you don't know. You can't be failing at something when you didn't know if it was going to work or not.
Yep.
Dink. Anyways, so get off phone at a set time. And then what I would say is when you're getting off your phone at a set time, I want you to follow that up with something that's signaling to your brain that it's time to shut shit down. Whether that would be putting on a noise machine, whether it would be doing your skincare routine, whether it would be reading in bed, like do something that feels good for you that would be helping you decompress. Add in decompression. Time. Okay. So this is what it looks like then, right? We have the starting issue, all of the things that are going on, and then we've got the thing that's in our control. Funny enough, the things that are ongoing are adding into why we're feeling this way, why we've been numbing out. So then you make your plan on the shit that you can control. Other than that, if these things that were out of your control weren't playing into it, I'm not going to make a game plan with my clients about that. That's when we're going to start talking about radical acceptance. We're going to start talking about, like, for example, the health issues with family and stuff going on. This is radical acceptance at its finest. I am not in control in the health of the health of other people. I can control the way that I think or feel about it. I can control the way that I'm showing up for this person. I can control the fact that there's consequences to actions. And sometimes that catches up with people and or hereditary. Like there's just shit that is bound to happen because that's what your family gene pool set up for you. So you take care and focus on, to the best of your ability, of avoiding some of those situations, but it's whatever happens, happens. And so the present moment is exactly what it is supposed to be. The present moment is there, and accepting reality doesn't mean that I'm okay with it. It doesn't mean that I'm approving of it. It means that I'm not going to fight the situation that's at hand.
I'm not going to change it.
I'm not going to sit in like fucking ignorance and be like, no, everyone's healthy. And then you're setting yourself up for failure. Someone fucking dies in a month. You're like, oh my God, everyone was supposed to be healthy. Like, well, you chose to be delusional. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Good. So that's where I would talk about radical acceptance. And that's where I bring in this thought process too of when the Gottman method, which is the gold standard for couples counseling, when they going through their training, 63%, I believe, 63, or is it 67? Relatively close. 63% of problems that couples face are unsolvable problems. Some of the shit that we face in our life is unsolvable. Some of the shit that we face in our life is not going to have an ending.
Sure.
Sometimes it is just things that are going on. We're all experiencing that right now, right? We're all experiencing inflation. We're all experiencing like fucking high demand for housing costs. Like all of that shit there is not within any of our control, but definitely is something that is affecting us on a
It still
daily
impacts
basis.
us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so it totally makes sense that that is something that might be carried around. It might be like just the stress of being alive. I can understand. And if a client said that to me, I would put that on there. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It is very hard to be alive in this society of where we are at right now. I totally get that. However, I'm always going to come from the thought process of being a therapist, and I think that things can get better. That's my MO. I
Of
think
course.
things can change. I think that things can get better, and I don't think that where you are is where you are always going to be. So I'm going to continue to push you to keep trying, keep showing up, keep being here in hopes that we see that turnaround and see us come out. You know the darkness because you've seen the light before, and you know the happy moments because you've seen the hard moments. It's a give and take. So some of these things are going to be things that you can't control. The understanding, the purpose of this is so that we know that they're there, and it's not just like this blatant, like, what's going on with me? It's so that you can come back to these moments and say, okay, yep, I know that that's going on. I know that's going on. So I can understand why this feeling is here, but I don't have to subscribe to it.
Sure.
I don't have to fully embrace or internalize this feeling. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Do you have any questions? Like any things that would think about? Okay.
No.
So hopefully my bubbles helped. I feel like we've talked about BCAs before. If not, maybe we haven't. If not, we'll do an episode on BCAs too, and just see how, see the differentiation between the two.
Typically when we used BCAs at the hospital, it was to find the not motivation behind behavior. We use it a lot with like self-harm, right? So if a kid engaged in self-harm, we would make these chains to figure out how did we get here? What was the leading cause of these things, right? Like we put all the pieces
prompting
together,
event, problem, behavior. Yeah. So we could do one of those because I think those are helpful too, just to recognize all of the vulnerabilities at play in people's lives.
Sure.
I feel like we have done one before, but whatever.
I don't know if we actually did one, but we might have talked about like the gist of it.
Another one. We'll do another one. So yeah. Let me know if you guys do this. Let me know if it works.
Yeah.
Let me see your bubbles. Tag me in social media. Okay. Speaking of social media, you can find Steph at The Spooky Therapist. You can find me at BEA_XO11, and you can find us at Rewriting Her Story Podcast on Instagram. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, please email us at rewritingherstory@gmail.com. And check out our YouTube, Rewriting Her Story Podcast. And you can see our shiny faces. And you can see my chicken scratch bubble letters. My left-handed handwriting. Oof. She's a doozy. Until next time. Bye.